We're back, baby. I'm Joanna Garner, and I'm the playwright of Punk AF, coming at you for a brand new version. Join us for the brand new version of Punk AF, public reading, Chance Theater, April 8th. Punk AF is a new play with original punk music about a group of friends in their 40s confronting the fact that they are no longer punk and all the ways that their lives have changed and made them smaller, safer, quieter since they were in a punk band together in high school. So they come back together for a bachelorette party, and that breaks open all of these secrets, histories, and truths about who they were when they were younger and how those younger selves can affect who they are today. It's really about finding your voice again in middle age and asking yourself, who was I when I was younger? What happened to that fire? What happened to that rage? And how can I tap back into that? Where are those moments when it no longer feels right to be quiet anymore, and to embody that youthful spirit of just showing up and screaming, what the fuck is going on? So we started developing this play at Chance. It was a commission begun almost 2 years ago. And we did an amazing first read through, sing through workshop at Chance last summer of 2025. And we learned so much about the play, what's working. Really, for me, it was like, this does work. There's so much energy, so much humor, so much that's applicable to a lot of us in this moment of being human. These questions of like, I feel so out of control of my life and how I'm impacting the world around me, but what can I do? Where does my voice actually matter? And a lot of us have become quite jaded, with this idea that I can actually impact the world with my energy, with my voice, with my activism. And so we worked on this, we worked on the show, for a few weeks and shared it with an audience. And there definitely was resonance there. People were really excited and juiced up by this play. Both men and women, feeling like I see myself in this. The music, it slaps. I gotta say, Celine Ramadan, who is an incredible Seattle musician and longtime collaborator of mine, wrote the music for the show. I wrote the lyrics, and the songs are incredible. They're so fun. They're so energetic. And so we're really excited now to revisit the show with everything we learned from that last reading. And so I think what became clear to me is just the way that the relationships between these characters can get deepened, can get expanded, just opportunities for us to really see them in an even fuller capacity in their young selves. So the play flashes back. We meet these women and one non-binary character in their 40s, meeting each other again after a long period of not seeing each other in person. And as they start to intertwine again, then the play flashes back and the actors actually play their younger selves, their 14, 15, 16-year-old selves. And we see them in the height of the 90s punk Riot Girl era, in this band where they all had so much energy and belief that they could make a difference in their own lives, in their school, in the world, which is this incredible punk ethos that I experienced as a teenager, and I think so many of us now are really craving to tap into again. And so I'm looking forward to really going deeper into who they were in that phase in their lives in the 90s, and then also just more eloquently weaving the stories of who they are now and deepening those emotional character arcs. We have a new director on board, Carrie Hayter, who is a really experienced new play and new musical development director. Really excited to bring a new, fresh perspective to the play from the directing front. And she and I are going to be in deep collaboration, just really looking at the play from this more phase of refinement where we can say, this song works great, but it's in the wrong place. Let's move it over here. Or this moment really needs a song. Let's write something new. Or this moment from a character perspective just is missing. And then there are lots of moments where the new play development process needs the input of a director and an actor to try out the moment and maybe even try it a few different ways so we can see, is this an issue with the play, or is this something that can be solved through directing and acting? So they'll really give me the opportunity to look at different moments in the play that maybe didn't land in the first reading, just because, we had one take on it. And so now we can look at it again and say like, oh, actually, yeah, with a slight adjustment in direction and acting, now that moment works. Or I can be like, nope, not working, needs to be cut, needs to be rewritten. So that's really the benefit of getting to return to the play now, with everything we know and all the amazing contributions that first chance team brought, which was so amazing. And now we get to bring in some new perspectives that'll just influence the play with some new flavors. So yeah, super excited to bring it back and share it with audiences, some of who saw the first reading, who can give us their feedback about what's changed, what they love now, and then brand new audiences meeting it for the first time and getting connected to the play. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, even in the last, 6 months since we last workshopped the play, the state of our country has continued to evolve in ways that are often maddening. And for me, sometimes leave me with this feeling of like, what the fuck am I supposed to do as an individual, as a part of a community? And the rage that gets generated with no place to go is palpable. Yeah, so there's this song that adult Steph sings called "The Quiet Gets So Loud," which is a reflection of the feelings that happen when you've silenced a part of yourself for a really long time. And at some point, that quiet, the not saying anything, the not doing something, gets so loud that it's deafening. And that song for me really represents these moments when our intuitive self, our physical self, that part of ourself that sometimes we push down and don't want to listen to, start screaming so loudly that we have to pay attention and say like, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to speak up. And sort of a pair to that song is the finale of the show has this refrain about saying the quiet part loud. It's really an anthem to say the quiet part loud, to speak up for the things that maybe no one else is saying, and to be a voice for change, even when it feels like there's nothing to do. And I think that's the power of youthfulness that we sometimes forget and sometimes discard as naivety, is this idea when you're young and you're not jaded yet that you can impact the world. And we do see that the teenagers who have that spirit can impact the world. There's incredible examples of that. And so how do we both encourage that in teens who are teenagers right now, to not get discouraged, to realize, yeah, your voice matters, your energy matters, you can be part of global movements. And also as an adult, you haven't lost it. In fact, you have more resources now, you have more clout, you have more impact, you have more money. And so if you step away from jadedness and step away from apathy, you can actually impact. It may not be impacting an entire world, but it might be impacting one other person in your community. So how do you say the quiet part loud so that you can actually affect change and influence the people and the systems around you? It'd be a handmade bikini kill t-shirt, like sketched in marker. It would be a lighter or matches, something to start a fire, and a megaphone. Let's take this play to Broadway. Let's do it. mean, it's always funny as a playwright to say that you have big ambitions for your play, because it sort of feels like full of hubris. But there's something about this play that I really believe in, and I really feel like is resonant and can be resonant with a really large audience. That's not all my plays. Some of my plays are really weird and are not for everyone. But this one, I'm like, let's go. Let's get it out there. So I'm just dreaming big on this one. I really think this is going to be this amazing platform. It would be incredible if there's a rolling world premiere that happens in the regional theaters after this. And then let's go to Broadway. Yeah, I love the structure of bringing the characters from the present into the past and letting them play their teenage selves. I think it's really fun. I think it gives a lot of opportunity for us to see the origin story of these characters and what made them and who they were in the past as juxtaposed to who they are now. We see that the echoes of themselves in the present, and we also see the things that they've lost and gained. But most importantly, I think we see this fire, however sort of misguided it might be, and they're able to go back into the past and kind of tap into that fire and bring it back into the present and let that inspire them as they are now. I mean, it's not a play about nostalgia in the way that you live in the past and wish you could go back there and totally disregard the present moment. My playwriting professor, Stephen Dietz, used to say that the past is a burning building in playwriting structure, meaning you go to the past to find the core thing in the house of the burning building. You go to the past, you grab that thing, and you bring it out. Those moments in the past have to really serve the moments in the present. So I'll definitely be crafting that a little more, making sure that those past moments are not just kind of filler or feeling, but really serve the story. And so I think that'll be part of the work of this next draft, is making sure everything we see in the past is directly tied to the heightened stakes and actions of the present moment. But that structure will still stand. I really love it. I think it's super fun. Yeah, I mean, in the last 6 months, actually, I've gone a lot deeper into this creative, energetic meditation work. So, and I'm actually leading a series of workshops in LA about this exact thing. I just did one called The Creative Turn On a few weeks ago, and I'm doing another one on March 3rd, which is all about sitting in the unknown space, that fertile unknown space that is creative inspiration and generation, and bringing your mind into a bit of a trance state. I like to call it hypnagogic brainstorming. And in that space, being able to ask my brain, is it my brain? Ask my muse, like, I don't know, who am I talking to? But ask the greater forces at play, how the scene should unfold, what I should bring in, what kind of dialogue. And I mean, it sounds totally out there, but it's really works for me. What it looks like is me laying down on the couch with my eyes closed. I'm not sleeping. I am in sort of that deep liminal space between waking and dreaming, and bringing out the essential elements of the play. I will also admit that using AI has become a larger part of my creative process. And I use AI as a sort of creative assistant, and I found it to be incredibly useful. So I can kind of download into it stream of consciousness, like, these are some things I'm thinking about. This is a problem I'm having with this scene. This is something that I want the play to achieve, but I'm not sure how to get there. And it's so good at organizing thoughts, seeing patterns, giving me back a punch list of things to work on. So, I mean, I really believe that AI cannot and should not replace artists and creatives. I just don't think that is possible, and I don't think we should try. But as a tool to assist the creative process, especially when you, as a creative, want to be in more of the expansive, imaginal, open brain space, AI can serve as that more right-brained, logical, linear thought partner. So that's actually been really helpful for me as I've come back to the play and started in on the process of tackling rewrites and coming to understand what I want to change and want to evolve. Yeah, totally. I mean, the actors in a new play process are so instrumental because they are revealing who these characters are in a living body, and also illuminating the places where the character is not fully sketched out. So, from just a broad standpoint, that's a huge benefit. But then as a playwright, I'm very open to collaboration, and I really welcome thoughts and ideas. And so there are a lot of things in the script. I mean, mostly sort of smaller character moments, but that are directly out of suggestions that actors made. A funny thing someone did in the rehearsal room. We're like, yeah, keep it. That's amazing. That's perfect. I'm thinking of Amanda Czar in particular, who was such a comedic actress, so brilliant. And there were definitely some moments of her in the rehearsal room trying something, just doing something for a joke, and it being like, that's perfect for that character. Let's put it in. So yeah, the actors influence the process enormously and are so generous. Working on a new play is really hard. You're getting new pages all the time. The thing you thought was true yesterday is now cut from the play. And so it really takes a lot of skill, and they are so instrumental in developing a play's DNA and its core bones, but then also all the way out to, just an amazing line that someone says in the room that then gets baked into the play. I watched this show Minx, which has really stuck with me. It's not, the subject matter is not really applicable to this play, but it's a story of this feminist writer in the 70s who wants to create a feminist magazine, and the only person who believes in her and will give her money for it is the publisher of a porn catalog of magazines. And so they end up teaming up together, and the show just is so funny, but really explores these deeper topics of subversive culture, sex positivity, taking a stand for something when the whole world is turned against you. That is done in such a brilliant way, and the costumes are incredible. It's just such a vibe. The world building is amazing. So that's a show that I watched kind of recently where I was like, yeah, more of that. Besides that, just mostly coffee. Coffee continues to be my lifelong love and creative partner. And I know it's real basic to say, but, shout out to coffee. I don't think so, but also I don't know yet because I haven't finished the new rewrite. So there's always the possibility that something big will shift and surprise all of us. So you'll have to just come and see. But I do think that the core ethos of the play as a anthem and a love song and a Riot Girl scream to punk energy, culture, and motivation to change the world. I do think that the farther we go down the rabbit hole of virtual existence and digital identity and artificial intelligence, the more we are going to need opportunities to sit together in rooms. And I feel like that sitting together is going to evolve more and more towards experiences of collective ritual, collective joy, collective effervescence, gatherings that feel like ceremonies. I think the idea of oral storytelling is super important, how we continue to tell our stories live to each other with words, so that we're transmitting not just facts or symbols or images, but the energetic exchange that can only happen in person in a room. And I think that's going to become so central and needed. I mean, it already is for our culture and our society. What that looks like in a theater, I don't know. Just personal bias. It's not as passive. It's not audiences sitting and completely checking out and forgetting that they have their own body and agency and story and just absorbing entertainment. It's going to be experiences where the audience is welcome to co-create. And I don't mean that like they're required to participate or that there's a sort of interactive element, but I think it's more of an energetic, and the idea that we like build community. And this idea of community has come up a lot for me. I'm like, in my life right now, like what actually is community and how does art making foster community, and how can experiences of sharing theater, sharing stories collectively feel more like community and not a group of strangers sitting together in the dark, feeling annoyed because this person's sniffling. So that's just something I'm really curious about. I do a lot of work in the ritual space, in the ceremonial space, and the creativity as a spiritual practice and alchemy. And so I personally would love to see our theatrical experiences weave more of the unseen energetic realms into them. And that takes creative processes that kind of carry that frequency in them. And it also takes audiences that feel really deeply connected to the stories and that their presence matters in the development of the art and in the sharing of the art and in the continuation of the art. This idea of a regenerative ecosystem where we develop art together, whether that's financial contributions, time contributions, ideas, creative powers, but that we develop it together, we refine it together, we share in it together, we receive the abundance, and we reinvest into the community. That's like on both a what does the creative look like and feel like side, and also what does the sustainability of our business practices look like. But I am cautiously optimistic that we are going to keep evolving and not succumb to apathy or this feeling of everything is burning and I can do nothing. I have to believe that things are burning, yes, but we are also burning, and that is going to require a connection to that fire, and to not let the fire destroy us, but to let it actually become a vessel for big transformational change.